In Naples, Florida, new construction sites of residential homes and entire neighborhoods have left adjacent areas flooding. In the state of Florida, new construction has to meet certain elevation requirements, which usually means that all new construction is usually going to be sitting up on a mountain. But what happens is when neighborhoods grow fast, they leave the existing homes in a hole, and then all the existing properties that were there before discover that they now become flood areas because the runoff from all the new construction sites that are at higher elevation. On today's video, we're going to be in the Naples area learning about how these new construction sites have started to hurt existing properties and flooding people's homes. When longtime residents complained to code enforcement, Collier County, letting them know that the new construction sites are flooding their existing homes, their response is usually the new construction sites don't have any violations and everything that they've done is according to the new building standards. Whether somebody's building a new home or getting a pool, these are both situations where people are having to call the county and let them know, hey, this new construction site is causing my property to flood. And almost always the people with the existing properties are told that there's nothing wrong with this new construction. Let's learn a little bit about what's going on in Naples, Florida. I've chosen the area of Naples Park because it's a very compact area and very easily digested for anyone trying to understand this topic. It isn't too complicated. On today's video, we're going to be in Naples Park, Florida. Quite possibly, there's no nice way of saying this. Naples Park is quite literally the neighborhood from hell. In the heart of North Naples, this neighborhood has been overrun with snobs, entitled people, but worst of all, developers that have made the life of people living in this neighborhood an absolute nightmare. Now don't get me wrong, living in Naples Park is absolutely an exclusive address. You're right within walking distance of some of the best beaches in Florida, in Naples Park Elementary School, where I have my basic education from. But despite this part of Naples being beautiful, exclusive, and attractive, it's home to some of the most arrogant, belligerent, and insubordinate people that you're ever gonna meet. And on today's video, we're gonna be looking through code enforcement violations to discover the nightmare that has become Naples Park, not only at the hands of builders and developers that have created flooding and other serious concerns for longtime residents, but also the fact that in Naples Park reside some of the most insubordinate people on the face of the earth. We'll start off on 95th Avenue, where somebody complains that the neighbor's new home has raised the grades significantly, causing flooding on their own property. And this is a repetitive theme. We didn't get through most of the streets in Naples Park. We only got through a few of them, and we discovered that the most common theme is new construction sites causing problems for longtime residents. You can see here how in the middle of both of these properties, they even had to install a drainage ditch to help alleviate the problem. On the next street over 94th, a complaint says that these people got trailers parked all over the property. On Google Maps, you can see exactly that. These people are literally trying to run a freaking company out of their front yard. Now keep in mind that real estate in this area is now worth into the millions of dollars. So imagine you pay $1 million to live in Naples Park and the neighbors next door are using their property to run a landscaping company. On 98th Avenue, things couldn't get worse for this person who says that the company next door abandoned a construction site. The now defunct Metro Homes, which was notorious for being one of the worst builders in Florida, they're not even in business anymore. Well, they literally abandoned a construction site, leaving a nuisance of porta potties and other garbage. Thankfully, today the home has been finished, but this construction site was a nightmare to the residents here. But that's not all. When they finally got around finishing the project, it turns out that the project's elevation causes a property right next door to it, an older existing home, to flood, pushing water into their garage. You can even see on Google imagery how the person's driveway is nothing but mud because of the new construction that overwhelms the existing home. In typical fashion of North Naples, new construction usually causes flooding on existing properties. Over on 95th Avenue, this lot was cleared, a home was demolished, but they left behind a porta potty that was being used. I wouldn't doubt that the property owner had workers in the area, so he decided to leave the porta potty there at this site so that the workers at other job sites could use it, or anybody working in the area. Take a look at the vocabulary of this complaint. Porta potty has been sitting on the road for several months now. Construction site is inactive. Many who pass by are using it, including children in the area. Caller wonders if it's even being emptied. On 97th Avenue, it says the neighbor built a new house with a pool behind my house, and now my backyard is flooded when it rains. Well, it turns out the reason it was flooding is because the person who built the pool decided to grab a pipe and filter all the runoff from the pool into the neighbor's property. Initially on 614, they said, hey man, there's no violations here, but the person kept insisting, and by 712, they realized that the property has deviated from the original site plan. Now the site plan is what you submit to the county. Explain to them exactly what the crap you're going to be doing on your property. If you deviate from the site plan, then most likely the county will reject your permit and make you tear it down or restart again because you didn't do things the way you were supposed to. By 819, they were still not in compliance and asking the inspectors for more time to fix the problem. Eventually by 1024, the property was now in compliance with the site plan that they submitted, and hopefully this alleviated the flooding problems for the person. But it's interesting to see how their initial evaluation of the situation was like, oh, there's nothing wrong here. Yeah, your yard floods now. Yeah, they got a big pool, so you're going to flood now. I don't know what emboldens builders and developers here in Naples, Florida, to be so bold and reckless with their projects, but this Jay McKenna person many times doesn't think that what these people are doing is a problem, or at least he always seems to believe that their flooding issues are not caused by the new development. This person here was given a $1,000 fine for running an illegal pool cleaning operation. And what's crazy is how the person that turned him in was actually a customer that was using the guy's service, and then went on to delay every single property this guy was working at, so complete inside job of snitching. Then there's things like this that make you scratch your head and say, wait, what? A center wall was installed on the duplex that appears to be made out of styrofoam ceiling tiles. The complainant says that the work was done without permits. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you cannot permit a wall made out of ceiling tiles for a duplex. I have a suspicion the guy that drives this brown truck with a pipe hanging off the side might be the culprit. This guy seems to think outside the box a little bit. I mean, where do you even get styrofoam ceiling tiles that are in good enough shape to create a wall out of? I mean, just that in itself is an accomplishment. The silt fence on this construction site is reported as not being installed properly, and we can confirm that through Google imagery, where we can see that it's not installed properly. This creates a situation where runoff and debris from the construction site ends up on the adjacent property. Back on 97th, right in front of the Nightmare Metro Home situation, is another situation where somebody claims that a new pool construction is causing their property to flood. Flooding on property caused by a neighbor's new pool. What is the response of code enforcement? I explained to Barbara that we need to let the pool permit do its job. Can you imagine that? Your whole property just floods because your neighbor's new pool is gigantic. You call code enforcement like, well, we're just going to have to let the pool permit do its job here. So then Barbara mentions that there's been people swimming in the pool even though there's no certificate of occupation for it. The response from code enforcement is, oh, okay, well in that case, we're actually going to take even longer to give them the certificate of occupation, which means your resolution is going to take even longer. Yeah, quite the response. The resolution to the problem is the permit was closed, inspections were passed, and Barbara was told practically, hey, just keep calling us on a regular basis. You can really tell by the vocabulary that code enforcement used. These guys are totally full of themselves. They like to flaunt their power and make people go through undue hardship when they're already dealing with a tough situation. I mean, when you read this vocabulary here, you can really see how cynical it is. Just the fact that these individuals are okay with putting their arrogance on black and white paper for other people to read only goes to show how arrogant they are and that they have no fear of repercussion even when their attitude is blatantly disrespectful to the people that are concerned about their properties flooding. It's like basically saying screw you and then putting it on paper. Talking about arrogance, this is the absolute pinnacle of arrogance. Imagine getting a code violation for over pruning your plants. Listen to this complaint. A large live oak has been completely hot-racked at this property. The county inspector writes, "My dear, I have observed how this tree has been trimmed of all of its canopy and will get an evaluation from the Environmental Committee of Collier County to understand exactly why this atrocious behavior took place. This tree has been over-pruned for what we believe is to be 6 months. We're going to watch carefully the regrowth of this plant to ensure it complies with all of the Collier County regulations on tree pruning and canopy foliage. There's a correction on this. There's been extreme severe tree pruning. We must cease all pruning activities until we evaluate the situation carefully with a team of expert tree pruners."
You can see on Google Maps a short Guatemalan lady standing in front of 538 94th Avenue in Naples Park. She is clearly illegal and taking jobs from hard-working, homeless, and addicted Americans who could be doing whatever she is doing. I suspect this home was mostly built by illegals, and I suggest you have.
I'd like to file a complaint against Mexicans.
Ma'am, I can't understand you. If you're going to file this code enforcement complaint, you're going to have to speak legibly.
There's a Mexican outside mowing the lawn.
Jude Hubbard has been cleaning my pool since March. Recently, he used chlorine tablets directly in my pool, causing stains. I found out he is unlicensed to be doing this type of work, so I'm snitching him out today. Even though I keep my property in very bad condition and my property looks like it's been run down ever since I moved in here, I'm still going to go out of my way to make sure that somebody else's life gets ruined because I was too cheap to hire a real pool guy. The audacity of this person having one of the most unkept properties in Naples Park to snitch out their pool guy for being unlicensed. This person here is like, there's a construction next door with no water control and the complainant's yard is flooding. Their reply is, outside of jurisdiction. Like, they're like, that's not even our problem. Like, I don't even know why you're coming at us to fix it. Like, that's not even our problem. Like, that's not even something we can fix. They didn't even give this person a chance to argue with them. They're just like, you know what, man, this ain't even our job right here. This is somebody else's problem. And then there's this guy. He got snitched out for having very tall grass. And also the person who owns the property apparently isn't even registered with Sunbiz. The good thing is that they hired unlimited landscaping company. It's not unlimited, it's unlimited landscaping company.
Well, we had to have the deputies come out and help assist us with a trapped dog. It was trapped in a new construction site on 93rd Avenue North. The dog was trapped inside the foundation blocks of a new proposed housing right there. Good thing we found an owner, a lady out of Bonita Springs. The dog was tagged and all. We were able to find the owner. But how this dog from Bonita Springs ended up trapped in a construction site down there. Tell you what, that construction sites trap all types of dog down there.
Then on 98th Avenue, this house right here was being used as an unlicensed vacation rental. Now, vacation rentals are popular in Naples Park. Some people would pay as much as $6,000 a month to rent a house during the season time. And I've heard during COVID, prices got as high as $9,000 a month to rent out a vacation rental. But you gotta have a license if you're doing it, and if you're doing it without a license, somebody will snitch you out. Then there's a complaint for the new home next door. It seems like in the process of building new homes on this street here in Naples Park, debris and garbage was overflowing into the next people's properties, and they were really upset to the point where they even had to reach out to the person that had the permit, that's known as the qualifier, to see why their construction site had become just a nuisance to the people of Naples Park. Here's some permit pulling vocabulary. The qualifier is somebody who's been approved to represent a builder. So let's say you own a building company, but you're not actually the person that's pulling the permits. You're sending somebody to do that for you. That person is the qualifier. So let's say you're pulling permits all the time and you're tired of running back and forth to the county. You can have somebody be your qualifier. You go to the county, you ask for a qualifier form, and once they're your approved and notarized qualifier, that person will be able to pull permits and represent your company in the permit pulling process. However, out of all the complaints I've seen, this is my favorite one: the murderous landlord. He's complaining about a pool enclosure that is not safe. Simple thing. But then the person goes on to say,
it could have kids are getting hurt or killed. This guy is a murderous landlord who could have kids killed The owner put small sections of latex, I don't know what that means, attached to the neighbor's fencing to close it off the property. Those could easily be moved and allow kids to fall in the pool or they will die a vicious, drowning death at the hands of this merciless landlord. The property is not safe for use. The owner is using the home as a rental. In my opinion, the owner does not care about the people of Naples Park. He rents this house and only cares about the money and the rents, and the children are all going to drown in his pool, and he can burn with all his money in his freaking backyard. It's an evil, horrible, horrendous piece of crap. We shall not tolerate this pool-nagging landlord to destroy the youth of Naples Park with his evil pool for his evil renters to swim in evil water next door to my prestigious home. This man must be fought and stoned to death at the Mercado Plaza. We will not tolerate his vicious behavior and attacks on our community. We must find this guy and beat him to savage and into a pulp, and he shall learn his lesson and respect the children of Naples Park and the dangers that his pool poses to our community, stability, prosperity, and the permit building process. With all the civil engineers and all the code enforcement officers and deputies, and Grady Judd himself shall come down viciously on this landlord for his evil encroachment of a pool that could hurt the children of our community.
Sometimes people just get a little carried away with their code enforcement complaints. And I guess this is an example of somebody that just went a little bit too far. Yes, the pool enclosure is not working, but the guy is not attempting to destroy the entirety of your community. Fair enough, the guy's pool enclosure is not secure. We get it.
The house next door at 726 92nd Avenue North has been under renovation for a while now, and they keep working on Sundays and after hours, again for several weeks now. Called the sheriff last week, but they said to contact you. They are now working on Thanksgiving Day. I can't believe that I'm the only person to complain. The only thing missing today is the loud music, which we have told them to turn down a few different times now.
Now, you would almost assume that working on weekends and blasting music, that she would be referring to a Hispanic builder. However, I dug deeper into this case, and it turns out that it's actually Billy. My favorite part of this code enforcement complaint is how the county official listed the guy's phone number like, yeah, I'm going to put this guy's phone number on the complaint in case somebody needs him. I mean, this guy is literally willing to work on a Sunday or Thanksgiving Day. That's the type of guy I need to save his phone number. So if you ever need somebody on Thanksgiving Day, or you just need somebody to work at any time, Sundays, holidays, Christmas, Martin Luther King Day, Billy don't care what day it is. You even got his phone number on the freaking post. So if you ever need somebody, in Naples Park, willing to work whenever, however, while listening to loud music, Billy's your man.
Man, I put on some Hank Williams Jr. and I climb on that roof, but I don't care what day it is till the job done. I seen that lady next door talking about code enforcement violation. Well, go finish this roof, and that's the situation.
All right, everybody, so that is the situation in Naples Park, Florida. Seems pretty obvious that the most common code enforcement complaint that people have is that their properties are flooding because of adjacent construction projects. And it seems like code enforcement is giving these people the runaround. While it is true that new constructions do need to be up to a certain building code, how do these new constructions affect the lives of the people that were here before them? If these new constructions cause flooding to adjacent properties, or if somebody's new pool all of a sudden causes the neighbor's yard to flood, do you believe that they have some type of responsibility to make it right with those people? It seems that overwhelmingly, code enforcement takes sides with the builders and developers. And if there's a repetitive pattern of new home construction causing detriment to existing properties, don't you think code enforcement should do something to address the problem? I mean, we're not talking about one or two complaints here. We're talking about dozens, if not hundreds of complaints per square mile about people saying, hey, these new constructions are really starting to hurt our home. But it seems like code enforcement isn't interested in helping these people. The only thing they seem interested in is facilitating new home construction, even if it causes flooding to existing properties. It wasn't that long ago that Hurricane Ian rendered the coast of Southwest Florida into a complete destruction zone. Hurricanes like this are a reminder why the new building codes of elevation are a necessity for the people who live in Southwest Florida. Hurricanes cause massive amounts of destruction, and this footage here is just along the coastline of Naples Park. Thankfully, most of this destruction has been cleared up, but anybody building in this area knows that the elevation of the new property has to be high. But the issue is, at what point does that start to become a problem for the people that were here before you? For me, living in North Naples, as the year passed, more and more new construction went in, and eventually our older neighborhood was left pretty much in a hole. And every time it rained, our neighborhood basically became a pond. Every new construction choked us more and more out to the point where our neighborhood became basically a retaining pond for the new communities around us. And many older neighborhoods or properties in this part of Naples are now facing the same dilemma. At what point do their properties become a retaining water pond for adjacent properties as the newer constructions are taller and taller, leaving behind older structures to become basically floodplains for new construction sites? In theory, the new site plans have to be evaluated to see how they will affect existing properties. But in reality, if a new construction site develops near your older existing home, chances are you're going to face flooding complications in the near future. Sometimes even before the end of construction, it becomes obvious that these construction sites are becoming a detriment to your property. However, code enforcement never does anything about it. For the most part, any altercations to the site plans to ensure that there's proper drainage and adjacent properties don't flood are minimal at best. If your existing property becomes neighbor to a new home or any other large development, chances are you're going to encounter some serious flooding issues in the future, and your complaints to the county about the situation may fall on deaf ears.